trust you've all been okay. My name is Teresa Kaneka, counseling psychologist and lead therapist at All Smiles Therapy Center. And today I'm joined with two beautiful ladies.
Sheila Mukwe, I'm a clinical psychologist.
Naomi Kathule, I'm a marriage and family therapist.
We are therapists from All Smiles Therapy Center, and we'll be discussing or taking you through parenting. Parenting comes with a lot of enjoyment. At the same time, it has its own difficulties, and we are here so that we can dissect psychologically all about parenting. And this should go out to everyone out there, a parent, a grandparent, or even a parent to be. And so we're going to start with parenting, and it has its good side. At the same time, has its flip side, and most of the time the flip side happens unconsciously. And for this, we also want to minimize, having to deal with a lot of childhood traumas when we brought up our kids in the not so right way. So we're going to start, and maybe we can start with you, Sheila. You tell us what is all about parenting.
Yes, parenting is basically an ability to just bring up a child. And like in the Kenyan constitution, it says a child has a right, every child has a right to have protection and love, which are some of the things that parents offer. Basically, a parent should offer love and protection and emotional support to a child. So these are things which are very important for a child as they grow up. It is said a child between the ages of 0 to 3 months, if they are not actually parented well, it will actually affect them in their adult life. Imagine. So we are going to even dissect some of the things like parenting styles, attachment styles, which will help parents be able to even just parent properly, so that when you're aware about your parenting style, when you're aware about your attachment style will mean how you were raised up. Were you raised up well by parents? Well, and in this case, we're saying parents can be anybody who is a caregiver. Basically, we'll just even put it like that. Parenting is just a caregiver. Do you have a secure caregiver? Or do you have an insecure caregiver?
Wow, do you have a secure caregiver or an insecure caregiver? Now, this leads to us seeing grown-ups who will come with presenting issues, being childhood traumas and all that. Do you think childhood trauma has something to do with their parenting? And if so, how?
Thank you, Teresa, for that question. And yes, it is true that depending on your life experience as a child, what we would call your lived experiences from the age of 0 probably to 18 years and sometimes even beyond, the experiences that you encounter as you grow up will determine the kind of an adult you will be in your own relationship with your family, and also affecting other relationships, social relationships, and relationships in the workplace. If I was to give an example and say, for example, parents who raise their children in a very strict and very controlling environment that is almost like a dictatorship. This not only comes up when you as a parent, you don't have an emotional relationship with your child, and therefore, if this child grows up to be a parent, or if this child has grown up in this very controlled and rigid and strict environment, they could turn out to be parents who are very permissive, meaning that they are shying away from even helping their children or guiding their children through ordinary decision-making processes, because when it was their turn, they got hurt in the process, and you find that it's very severe because it can affect the character of this child. It can affect whether they end up in isolation when it is time for them to marry. It can even determine things like depression, substance abuse, only because the parents were too rigid. And so I agree with you, Teresa. There is a connection.
Wow. You see, and a very, very great connection, because as a parent, you're the first caregiver and the first caretaker of that child, and hence most of their history they will be putting it in place. And we have some parents who they are absent parents, and they are absent with very justifiable reasons, and other parents just like that, they are not present in their kids' lives. And Sheila, you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, absent parents is something which is right now very common in our society right now. Parents could be absent simply because of work. So what do these parents do? And they tend to overly compensate for their children by giving them, goodies. They would now just make them have all the pleasures in life because they're not there. They're trying to cover up for their missing. So there are some even parents who have actually taken their children to be brought up by their own parents so that, they can have a semblance of parents. But their parents really need, if you are a father and a mother and you're there, your children need you to raise them up. And yes, don't be absent.
Wow. And that will bring us to some of the things that determine if our parenting is the right parenting or not. And we've said at the beginning, we have different parenting styles. Maybe we can take them through. And I will start with the one that Naomi has talked about, permissive parenting style. This is a parent who feels they just want the best for their kids. However, they do not know when to draw the line, get to know, are they overcompensating, how Sheila is putting it, or are they really doing the right things? In most cases, these are the parents who will let their kids just, get away with everything that is happening. They do not want to discipline them in case they will use that one as a blame to other people. It's the nanny who is causing this. It's school that is causing this. It's because they are friends with so and so. So these are the parents who will always be there. They will never get to hear of anything about their kids not doing the right thing. They will always have a blame or someone to count on and say it's because it's them that they're making them misbehave. There are also the parents who will let the kids get away with everything. I want this, have it. I want this, have it. So at what point did we draw the line and get to know, yes, it's okay, you want this, but you're going to get it at the right time? Because in most cases, permissive parents, they end up bringing up very spoiled kids when they go to school because they were never shown how to have rules. At home, they were never shown how to even have respect to other people. So when they go to school, they will keep on causing chaos because they do not know how to follow orders. And still, the people, when they come out here in the society again, most of the time they even deal with the law because they were brought having it's either their way or highway. The parents just let them have, take away everything that they needed. And for that, they grew up not being the best kids. And so do not be a permissive parent. The next style.
Okay, I think the one that I think I had already mentioned the one about the authoritarian parenting, which is where the parent is a dictator. I don't know whether I should talk about that or whether I should address another one.
Yeah, you can also talk about it being from a perspective, an authoritarian parent. In most cases, they're very quote-unquote selfish parents because they try to have their image imposed on their kids. You might find maybe it's because you have an image that you want to protect, there is a way you want your kids to behave. And you set rules as per your image, not as per the kids. And for that, you deny them to live their childhood. You are denying them their childhood because you are imposing yourself on them. You are a teacher, you are a disciplinarian, you do not want your kids to be on their own. But not knowing, again, you set very extreme, strict rules on them. And this, in most cases, what it ends up making them be is the time they will have their own freedom, and most of the time is 18 and above, they become the opposite. Why? You never allow them to have the freedom. Please get this. The permissive one is the one who will just let the kids get away with everything. Authoritarian is the one who is very strict. We've seen scenarios where parents get in and the kids, they just want to run away. you actually grow without having a relationship with your kids, because you are just there, very commanding. And then you can be a very high person in the organization and you want to take your being a boss back at home, very commanding, just calling them for meetings. I'm not saying meetings they are bad, but get to know when it's time for you to interact with your kids and when it's time to have the meetings. Yeah, so we have others who neglect their kids. You can talk about it.
Children, neglected parents are those, it's like you have no parent really, because they don't care whether you are, emotionally they don't take care of you emotionally or even love you. The only thing they would try to do, these neglected parents, is just take care of your welfare. They will provide for you, they'll make sure you have food in the house, they'll make sure you can get your basic needs, but something like having time with you, they will not have time with you. They will not take you somewhere that you need to have a time out with them. They don't have that time. You're just there. So it's like the parents are completely absent and really absent and not there emotionally, physically, any other way. They just provide for you.
Yeah, and to mention, kids, they have a way, they want to feel secure. They want to be attached by their caregiver, with their caregivers. So they yearn for that attachment from you as a parent. And when you're not giving this, again, when they grow, we end up having kids or now grown-ups who will maybe be stuck even in wrong relationship just because they're getting attention, which is something they missed when they were growing up. Kids who will also grow being involved in other activities where they're being shown care, they're being attended to, they're being given attention, and in most cases even for drugs, because why? You are neglecting them. Maybe you're not even there to get to know how they're performing in school and everything. Yours is just provision and that's it. Hence, it's not all about provision. Provision is one thing that kids require from us. There is also the emotional need, and emotional need is just to be there, look after them, let them also share with you their memories and everything, show them that you care, and just be attentive. Having said the three, that is permissive, we have the neglectful and we have authoritarian. So now, which is the most ideal parenting style?
Thank you, Teresa. So I think for me, I would say the most effective parenting style is one where there is balance between provision, love, and nurturance. This is what the psychology books would call the authoritative parenting style. And even though this word has the term authoritative has the word authority, it is important to differentiate the authority of love that is coming from the parent, and then there is the authoritarian type that is very dictatorship very much dictated in nature. So when it comes to the authoritative parenting style, the good thing about this style and why we would encourage parents to lean towards the authoritative way of parenting, it's because it is based on relationship. The parent needs to be sensitive enough to know that even as they go around carrying out and executing all their parenting duties, that they have a relationship with their child. Now, having said that, the next question to ask is, why is it that this parent doesn't seem to know that there's a need to have a relationship with their child? The second question to ask is, if in the event that the parent knows that they're supposed to have a relationship with their child, what then in the life of that parent is hindering them from being the kind of parent that they want to be? So the good thing about the authoritarian parent, the authoritative parent, is that there is a balance. Yes, we want you to provide and make sure that the children are in a place where they have food, they have access to education and a good quality of life, but at the same time, that entire system is not going to function, and actually it will malfunction and dysfunction greatly if there's a hindrance, any kind of hindrance to the relationship that parent is pursuing with their child.
I could also add the fact that authoritative parents are parents who are able to allow their children to make decisions together with them. They don't just impose decisions on the children. They allow the children the ability to also have a say in the decisions that they want the children to make. So that's where now the balance, like she said, like Naomi said, that's where the balance comes in, as opposed to the authoritarian one where they impose decisions on the children. Yeah.
Yeah, and now having said that, we have 4 parenting styles. We have the permissive, we have neglectful, we have authoritarian. And please note these 2 words. We have authoritarian, which is extreme, strict, and the authoritative, which psychologically is the most ideal parenting style, where, as Sheila is explaining, you are able to come up with a decision, you are able to set rules in the house, and rules that are more agreeable by both parties. Hence, it's not a scenario where you let the kids get away with everything, neither are you extremely hard or harsh on your kids. So get to know which type of parenting style you are applying on your kids. And now, most of this parenting style leads us to the next thing, where we say, hurt people, hurt people. If you are hurt as a parent, you will end up hurting your kids. So maybe we can share a scenario where I have seen, and I keep on repeating this because not one, not twice, people have come for therapy. For kids, they've told me the reason why they wouldn't want, maybe when they grow up to be parents, is because they feel it's a lot of work to be a parent. Have had scenario where parents, they tell me, I got to know I need therapy when my kid asked, is it too hard to be a mother? So can we now revisit things that at time makes these parents be hard to their kids, where they project? We have some issues of projection. You're just caning them, but you're caning them because of maybe something you went through or mistake of other people. So what does that amount to? Because it's not an ideal parenting, but what does a toxic parent amount to, the effects of that kid now growing up, and what makes one become a toxic parent now?
Okay, thank you very much for that insight. And I do agree with you that a toxic parent will have experienced toxicity as they were growing up. And the thing about us human beings is that we have a conscious mind and we have an unconscious mind. For example, if let's say at the age of maybe going to university, as you are getting ready to go into university, for example, maybe your family suffered some kind of a financial strain, and that then maybe caused some delay, or maybe you didn't attend the university that you wanted, and so there was that commotion. But let's assuming it all turned well and eventually you made it. Now here you are, the parent of a child who is getting ready to go to university. How do you as a parent know how to manage yourself so that if there was any fear registered in your mind at that time when it was your time to go to university, that you do not project that fear or that insecurity or that unstable background without your conscious knowledge. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is that yes, as human beings, we are triggered. Our children can be triggers that bring out the worst in us if we have unresolved issues.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it means if you're a parent, you feel you have unresolved childhood traumas, because parents will give birth to kids who will be future parents, and it will keep being like that. So for you to cut that child, you need to seek therapy. Therapy so that you can first find yourself before you become a parent to this little one, because there is no way you are brought up by also a toxic environment. And it could be because we don't mean a toxic environment, not all about parenting. It could be it's what you are exposed to, maybe in school or when you are even at work and everything, and maybe that caused you to be in a toxic setup. So in such scenario, always remember, hurt people will hurt people. And in most cases, you as a parent, you will have issues even in your marriage, and the issues in your marriage at times they end up affecting the kids. So again, we want to talk about the issues in a marriage. Of course, we'll be talking more about marriage setup, but in regard to parenting, Sheila, I would like to share with us the issue that in marriage, partners might be going through that ends up affecting the kids, and so makes the parenting be a toxic one.
One of the most prevalent issues that cause a lot of issues between parents is abuse. There are some parents who abuse each other because, again, it could also be because of their how they were parented. So now you find these two people maybe coming from maybe very authoritarian parents. They've come together, and they're abusing each other because of their different parenting styles. One wants to use the authoritative one or authoritarian one, which the parent used, and this one one of them who felt they don't want authoritarian, they want now to be permissive. So because of that, there's a conflict between the two parents. So they start abusing each other. It's like you are too permissive, you want to allow the children to do what you want. So the children have two conflicting ideas. Mom wants you to go to a bash, dad doesn't want you to go to a bash. So the children see their parents always fighting, having infightings between them, and this brings issues between parents.
Yeah, and also when parents, they're just fighting because their own issues.
Yeah.
Maybe they have issues, and you grew up as a kid knowing my parents, they fight. My mother is very abusive, my dad is very abusive. This is a time we've seen scenarios where even kids, they do not want to be in school because they feel when I'm in school, maybe my dad is busy being, or fighting or the other way with my parents. And so I'm going to cause chaos. I'll be very much chaotic to ensure they have something to talk about. We've seen kids who are more labeled as criminals in school, kids who are not peacemakers. And why do they do that? When they are brought for therapy and we get to assess them, they tell us, you know what, I must cause trouble because me causing trouble is the only time I'll be able to bring my parents together because they will have a common thing to talk about. So when I'm in school studying and I'm so disrupted that maybe there could be fight at home, I'm busy thinking, how can I be of help? And because the much I can do is to be chaotic, I'm sent home. Now at least they will keep their differences aside and have something to talk about, which is my discipline. Please get this. To them, whether you are talking about a negative or a positive thing, all they want is to see their parents together, talking about something. So I'm that type of a parent who keeps on saying that your kids, they are very, they're very criminal or they're naughty and all that. But have you access to get to know, are they projecting? Are they communicating? Because at times, our kids, they communicate through our actions. So talking about communication, now you can tell us more about effective communication between kids and parents. And also when we're talking about communication, what we term as punishment and what we term as a reward. For instance, when you go to the supermarket and there is all these things that my kid wants and I do not have enough money, how can I go about it? And number two, when they perform well in school, how do I differentiate between making them dependent of I can only perform well if I'm promised, and how do we ensure at the same time, also as parents, we are giving them what they want because rightfully they need to have snacks. That's their need. But we're not telling them you must do this for you to have snack and what that leads to.
Okay. So I'll start with the first one about communication between the parent and the child. And as we had mentioned earlier, you're not going as a parent to struggle to communicate with your child if you have a relationship. And what determines your relationship with your child is what you know about parenting, meaning you're consciously taking the right actions every day, big steps and small steps, to be the best parent you can be and parent consciously. And number two, you already know that if you have any issues that can be addressed in the therapy room, any traumas, any memories, any difficult lived experiences, that you have processed them. Because these are the things that will hinder the way that you parent and the way you communicate with your child. So, for example, the way you have said something about no money.
Yeah, no money, and your kids, they want everything.
Yes.
How do you communicate in a way that you get to understand it's
Yes.
because mommy has no money,
Yes.
but not because mommy hates me that they're not going to buy me all this.
So that is actually a perfect example, because finances are a big part of a family system. So you find that if as a parent, maybe you're not performing so well with your finances, maybe your children, when they go to school, they say, oh, as our mom comes in a smaller car and that other family, they live in a big mansion. These are things that children know. And especially now in the time of social media, influences of that our children are exposed to are just beyond measure. So here you are, maybe you're going through a financial transition, and maybe over the Christmas holidays you didn't manage to take your child to school. So there is a financial issue, but what matters is not that the financial issue has come onto your family space. What matters is, as a parent, how is this financial transition projecting on you as a parent? How do you think your children are perceiving you? How does your financial transition affect your relationship with even your spouse? So if you're not in a position where you know who you are, where you understand that financial transitions, how they can affect a family, then you're not going to be able to process something like that properly. And if you're defended against financial change, then you're not going to be able to sit with your child and say, I was expecting this kind of a promotion. Or if it is land that you are selling, you tell your children, you see, we have this land, we have not yet sold it, or mommy has not come back from work, from her assignment, so that you engage the children and go through the process with your children. And the most important thing about going through such processes with your children is that you're actually teaching. And which brings me to the most important point, Teresa, that you said, how to differentiate punishment and reward. You see? Because actually, if you think about the two words, they shouldn't be so different. Because if a parent is parenting in love, is punishing in love or correcting in love, then there shouldn't be an issue. So you find that when it comes, for example, to the situation where you have children in school who are acting out freedom, like you said, we believe, or according to psychology books, that any child that is having problems learning and behaving, the point to check is the emotions. So here you are, you're a parent, you don't have a relationship with your child. That means you haven't gotten an opportunity to teach that child anything. Whether it is how to sit in the dining hall, how to pack their bags, how to be organized, to even discuss about other children who don't relate so well with them in school, so they know what position to take when they see the other child that is acting up, how not to say negative things. When you see this, what does it mean when you see another child that is beating another child? You see, so if you do not take time teaching, you need to know that anytime you're correcting, before you teach, you are actually punishing. And this is where now the rubber hits the road, and there's a big gray area, because how are you correcting a child that you have not taught? You are going to punish them and hurt them whichever way you look at it.
Oh, that's very insightful, How are you punishing, or why are you punishing a kid that you've not taught? This means, how will they be able to differentiate this is wrong, this is right? It's never written anywhere. Even for them in their developmental stage, they grow learning. And most of these things, they even acquire from us. So you are busy as a parent calling bad names out there. Next time, you will be so mad at them, you want to punish them because they are calling out bad names. but clearly, where have they learned from? Hence, let's pick words of inspiration and words that are going to add value to our kids, but do not speak words that even you can't bear when they come from your kids. And still the same goes to how we behave before people. Have seen people driving and pointing fingers and those cursing names while you have your kids on board. We also have scenarios where you are caught. I mean, we are Kenyans and we know how these things happen. Maybe you're on phone, there is a policeman somewhere, and you start talking about kitu kidogo. In their presence. Please note, I'm not saying it's good, because definitely that is not good. Neither am I saying it's a bad thing. It's all about you and your values. However, can you get to differentiate between what you share and how you behave before your kids? You'd rather even get out of your vehicle. I'm not supporting corruption, but if you must get out of your vehicle, go and have your conversations elsewhere. How else will they learn that this is wrong? Still happens. You receive a call. I'm in a meeting, I'll call you. Yet you are with them there. What are you teaching them? That actually you can lie if you can get along with it. So tomorrow, when they also come and will lie to you, you'll be the first one to discipline, not knowing you've already taught them. Hence, we should be, or anytime we look at our kids, let that one be like our mirror. Kids, they reflect what we tell them, what they learn from school, and for you to be able to differentiate, are they learning these bad habits from elsewhere? Set rules in your household. Say in this household, nothing like calling out names, no kisirani, and some of these things, they are things that you also need to discuss even with your nannies at home, because you might be busy working, but do you ensure that they get to be fed with the right words and the right way morally, even at home? So you also need to sit down with their caregivers, any other person who stays in that house, let them know this is how I want my kids to grow up. So when they wake up, maybe they're just crying, please do not call and tell me, they are throwing tantrums all over, because you're also labeling them. Call the action. They've woken up, crying, have given them food, they do not want to eat. With that, even as a parent, you know how not to overhelp. But when you say they are throwing tantrums, I do not know. Are they throwing shoes all over? Are they crying? Are they shouting? So let's learn how to have good communication and effective communication in the right way. Also, you've talked about punishing and reward. Get to know when you want to punish your kids. Yes, you taught them, and also remind them, you've done this wrong, you're supposed to do like this. Set rules. When you do this wrong, as mommy, I'll be using slippers, I'll be using muko to punish you. Let them get to know, not just anytime they see you, they associate you with that muko. They see you, they go to hide it, the slippers, because they know mommy will use this to punish me. Set rules and let them get to know. Also, there is a sorry, because how else do you teach them to be remorse, to take up their mistake and to honor? When you go home and your kid approaches you and they say, I poured water unknowingly, or I did this unknowingly, get to know they are also being remorse, because you are teaching them how to say sorry. Do not say, because you did that, I must continue punishing you, because again, what are you teaching them? That even if you are remorse and you say sorry, your sorry is never taken up. So let's get to learn the effective way of punishing. She has talked about reward. Get to know where to, and I keep on saying this, share with your kids first. A reward comes as a result of something. So let them know what is this that we are looking forward, having a goal of you achieving this. I want to buy you a bicycle. Share. In school, and you want to learn, when you become this position, or when you behave like this, not only when it comes to positions, even the behaviors, or when you want to teach them something new, you just promise and tell them, then you will have this. But please do not make it about you. Ask them what they want. Maybe you want to buy them that bicycle, but they want a ball. Or they want to be taken to go and say hi to their grandparents. Also get to know what exactly they want, because if they do not want what you are promising, they won't achieve what you both want, because that's not what they want. With that, also be a promise keeper parent. And when even you do not have money, sit down with them and explain, I know I promised you a bicycle. However, as it is, I do not have money to buy you that bicycle now, but once I get that bicycle, I will buy you. Or because I do not have money to buy the ball now, what else can I buy you so that you feel have made the promise? Share and discuss with them. But please note as a parent, this should not be confused with us giving what rightfully they deserve. You don't have to make it. For you to have a snack in the house, you must do ABCD. Why? We're also bringing them to know, for me to get something, I must pay for it first. That's why we have so many girls, so many young men out there, they are sleeping with people for sexual benefits. For me to have good grades, I must sleep with this lecturer. For me to have work, I must, do this I must break the interviewer. For me to get away with something, or, for me to achieve anything that I need, I must pay for it first. Why? It all starts at home. You taught them, for you to have that snack, you must work for it. No. Anytime just come in, give them the snack. Give them that freedom to tell you, Mommy, today I want, when you're coming back, bring me some cookies. Bring cookies without pegging some demands on it. That also for me, I want to find the cups clean and all. No. When they ask, you are able to provide. Differentiate between giving them, because that will also encourage good communication, giving them, and when you are giving them a reward. So now, Sheila, as we head now to closing phase, we also have different stages of life. We have those who are 0 to 8, we have preteens, we have teens, and we also have young adults. And in most cases, we have parents who confuse parenting. They will come because they have an 18-year-old, but they still want to parent them the same way they are parenting their 6-year-old. They have a 13. Please remember, when you're talking about 13, this is a preteen just entering puberty and adolescence, and you still want to parent them the same way you used to parent them when they were 5 years. And with that, now we start having issues with our kids and all that. I know we still have to discuss this later when we'll be talking about developmental stages and all that. But in regard to parenting, maybe you can share something with parents.
Maybe I would even start with my own scenario, because I'm a parent of young adults, so definitely they passed through all the stages to where they are at now. When they were a bit younger, 0 to 6 years, well, I think parents, you should enjoy that stage because they do what you want, and they are somebody said they are mostly angels. But when they reach teenage, when they actually ask you why you're asking them to do that, you now start feeling, why should they talk back to me? That's an age where they are just knowing themselves and they are learning how to be assertive and all that. And us as parents, sometimes we push them down, and you want them to still do what you want. So what do you do at that stage? You're destroying their ability to make decisions, their ability to know how to stand up for themselves. So they are dependent on people's decisions. And like she said, those are the children now who are taken advantage of later in life by various people, even lecturers or any other person. And when they reach at 18, this is another group that is very interesting, because at 18, they're not adults as yet, but yet they want to make big decisions. And these children at this age tend to really have their peers as they go to people. So they have their buddies out there who are telling them what to try, maybe even to try drugs, to try this. And if the values you set in them are not strong values, these children will be pushed off by their peers. So it's very important, like they say, you build relationships with your children. Why? Because you'll be the go-to person when they get to issues in life, and they will not entirely depend on their peers. Especially in the 18-year-olds, it's a very difficult stage for most parents, because these children feel they can make their decisions, even if you tell them not to go for that party, because you can see when they go to that party, they might be drugged or something like that, and they don't have that insight. They will still go and get into trouble and all that. And and you as a parent are wondering, why are these children not adhering to my rules? But they've gotten to that place where their developmental issues, allow them to just hear their peers and all that. But if you had a good relationship, you could have even given them a foundation of where they are at. You explain to them as a parent, and that is what a parent needs to do. You need to learn as your children grow older. You don't just my friend Tisa just rightly said, you don't treat a 6-year-old like an 18-year-old like a 6-year-old. You want to dictate to them what they should do. This is what I want you to do. This is what you can't do that. They need their freedom, and we need to know as parents when we need to cut their umbilical cord, as they say it. Cut them, let them lose, let them make their mistakes, and come back and say, yeah, there you did make a mistake. You listen to your whatever, and this is what you have achieved. Walk the journey with them and let them see this is where they mistake it. Because at 18-year-old, you're not hitting them and abusing them and all that. It's a time to sit down and reason with them. Even God says, let's reason together. He comes to that level sometimes. So it's called upon us as parents who represent the leadership in the home to do what? To even talk to your children and reason with these different ages.
Wow. Hence, it's how we teach them and walk the journey with them as they also experience different developmental stages. So as we are about to close, we just can't close topic on parenting before also, featuring the different parents that we have. We have parents where we have father, mother.
Mm.
We have parents where we have your parent by being a guardian. And we have single parenthood. And we have co-parenting, which is something, and we have step parents. Of course, it's much more, and what we are doing in this discussion, we are only creating awareness of what as a parent you should be able to get to know about parenting, but we'll also tell you and give you more guidance on how you can get to learn more about this. Mm-hmm. So now maybe you can take us briefly through different types of parenting, starting with co-parenting. And you can also touch on step parenting, because when you talk about co-parenting, in most cases we are co-parenting, but I'm also married to someone who now it's a step parent to these people. And as we also now, Sheila will tell us a bit about single parenthood. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Teresa. If I choose one, I choose to start with co-parenting. Because as the word suggests, the co-parenting means that the two parents, in this case the mother and the father, are deliberately finding themselves having to come together outside of the initial marriage setup where probably you're living together. The co-parents will find themselves having to co-parent one child or a number of children outside of the normal family context. Maybe the marriage has broken or the relationship has somehow come to an end. The two parents have separated, but whether it is out of a court process or whether it is through family mediation, you and your community of support have come to the realization that it will actually take both of you to parent this child or the children that are at the center of the co-parenting situation. So, as we all know, by the time you find yourself as a co-parent, there's probably some kind of conflict that has led to what was your union to either break or find yourself separated from one another. Therefore, the need to come back deliberately to co-parent. And so it is normally a very engaging and very challenging situation when parents have to find themselves to co-parent. But the thing about this co-parenting situation that I want to draw immediate attention, why it is that as a parent, you don't stop to ask yourself, why am I struggling to co-parent? Because the issues that led to the primary relationship breaking are probably still there. The triggers that your spouse triggered in you, to the extent that you had to walk away from the relationship, they are still unprocessed. So you find that, yes, here you are, you want the best for your child, but when it comes to going back to communicating with your ex-spouse or the other parent, then you're hindered. So you are not able to communicate, you're not able to agree on what school the child will go to, you're not even able to arrange the holiday visits because there are other things that are coming in the way of your parenting. So having addressed some of those challenges that parents who find themselves co-parenting experience, it is important to emphasize that if you find yourself as a co-parent, the need for therapy, because it is a first sign that your intended relationship failed, and at the point of failure, you find yourself with a child or with children under your care. So you have to revert back to therapy where those traumas or those unexpressed issues and lived experiences are then brought out, so that when you walk into a situation where you're co-parenting, you're actually self-aware that this is not about you. This is not about your previous relationship, that this is about a child that needs to experience the love and presence of both parents, and that you're actually part of that process, of which if that process fails, then inevitably there are chances that if that child does not get does not have access to therapeutic interventions, then you will have a cycle repeating itself. Now, going back to step parenting, somehow the two are related, because you find that most of the times when you're having a co-parent, some of the issues you're fighting about is that one spouse does not approve of the influence that their partner's spouse or their partner's friend or new relationship person or figure is bringing into the life of the child. And so again, it goes back to, as a step parent, or when you find yourself as a step parent, you make sure that the reasons that caused the breakup of your first relationship, that you do not bring them into your second relationship, because as step parents, the relationships we have, if we are carrying forward trauma, then we are coming to contaminate maybe even a parent who, maybe you're getting married to somebody who lost a spouse out of sickness. Then that means their background is not, their relationship background is not as contaminated as it would otherwise be. So they did not get separated by divorce, but you got separated by divorce. So if as a step parent, you end up in that situation, then you find that you will not have time even to bond with these step children. So then the cycle can continue and head in a toxic manner and head in the wrong direction if the co-parents and step-parents do not take time to address the old parent and the new parent that is required through parenting or through step-parenting.
Wow. And to put more emphasis on that, Naomi has talked about therapy. In most cases, when you find yourself in a very indifferent setup, and I'll call it indifferent because what we know is, I'm not saying any is normal or abnormal, but what we know is parenting is where we have man, woman come together, they're bringing up their blood kids. But when you find yourself, you are in a different setup, it's always good to seek therapy. To seek therapy because you are coming from a point of being different first, which means there is what you knew as parenting on your own. Here you are coming with another person now who is going to be a step parent to these kids that you are bringing on board, or you are going to be a step parent at the same time, or you are here co-parenting with someone who once you had a purpose, who you are in love with, a marriage that never worked. And with that, we just need, because today we are discussing about parenting, this has nothing with your own indifferences. It's all about the kids. If you're stepping in as a step parent, always get to know what are the goals for me to get in. Step in as a step parent who is going to put on a shoe of a parent. What does this mean? When you step in where there is kids, please do not start disciplining them because of how you know parenting should be done. You've stepped in where there is a kid who is already 8-year-old, and in your mind you're expecting someone who is 8-year-old should be able maybe to get this car from the sitting room to the kitchen. So you're busy disciplining them and calling them names. You're very lazy, you're very irresponsible. Yet you didn't take, there isn't any book that is written, this is the much have disciplined or have trained my kids. So before then, can you join in as a parent? Yes, we are step parent, but can you put on shoes of a parent and say, Absolutely, I have no knowledge up to how the other parenting had reached, and so I'm going to teach you my way. Before you start disciplining them, show them, take the car, put it where it's supposed to be. Do not assume at age of 14 they're supposed to know how to wipe their shoe. Please go back, start like you are restarting all over again. Show them, such that even by the time you are disciplining this kid, you are disciplining them from a known point. A known that I have showed you this is how it's done and this is not how it's done. Because in most cases, why do people fear being a step parent or step parents? Because you come and you're doing the right thing with all the goodwill to see these kids grow, but you're coming with the already known knowledge, but that is only known in your mind. You have no idea if you meet somewhere with these kids, at 16 they're supposed to know how to make their bed, how to wash their bed sheets and all that. But that's not the case. Maybe the kids were brought up differently. The nanny used to do everything. You're not there to start correcting their parents how they are going about it. Now let them know it's okay when mommy or when daddy was here, the nanny was doing everything for you. And for me, I would like you start. Do not say which is bad. If you start, you've gone in to correct what has been happening, trust me, you've already put up a wall. They will never connect you from a point of, I'm coming because you're coming from being, having bad parents, now I'm your savior. They'll just put on a wall that will grow up and it will end up in something else. Let them get to know you are coming as a compliment in my life. There is where I had learned, now you are coming and also get to learn much more from you. Hence, they even see themselves from a point of being more privileged, where they've learned everything from their mommy and daddy, and now that daddy has married another mom, they're also going to have more. Hence, they'll see themselves being more enriched, having more information than even that person who has one mommy and one daddy. So when you're stepping in, can you step in and put on the rich shoes of a parent? Start from the beginning. Do not put that wall. Also, always have it in mind. It's these kids at a position of being your stepkids. Tomorrow it can be your own kids. How would you want it to be? And lastly, on the same, I keep on saying this, kids grow so fast. They grow really fast. And for that, do not do something to this kid that even when they grow up having resentment. They grow up saying, the reason why I can't go back home is because I still remember how my stepdad used to treat me, how my stepmom used to treat me. Just get to know you are the one who is entering that marriage for a permanency. But for them, they are only there for a very short time. Give them the best life that you are able to. Discipline them the right way, knowing very soon they will be off on their own, and give them a reason to come back and appreciate the fact that you entered into their lives. And also, as now we got to Sheila to tell us more about single parenthood, for co-parenting. Once you seek therapy and you are able first to deal with their issues, because as she's putting it, there is much more about you too. Get to know it's all about these kids. Do not communicate negatively about the kids. About the other parent before the kids. Ensure in presence of the kids, you are not projecting the issues you have with your daddy, with your mommy. They may have weakness, especially when it comes to violence and abusive marriage and all that. But please, let them know it's okay, we are in this type of a marriage, which is not the right way. And that's why me and your mommy or me and your dad, we decided to separate. That does not mean that you're going to grow up without a daddy or a mommy. We are both going to be here, but in different ways. Also make them get to know, walk them the journey. Do not assume that they've also said they know what is happening, because childhood trauma starts from right then. Then do not make kids take side. Because when they grow up, they'll come to blame you. Were it not of mommy who refused us to see daddy, we would have been brought up in a setup, even daddy being away, he's still there for us. So please, and also have routine. You can see some people, they even agree at court. When you go through the court process, you'll be seeing your kids on Saturdays and Fridays. Make it a routine. You have time that you are with your daddy or you are with your mom. And also, one parent, when you're co-parenting, one of the worry is, what are my kids doing now with their daddy or with their mommy? Maybe they're being introduced to another person and being told this is the right person, I'm very bad. No. What you can do to ensure that you enhance that relationship, even took videos of you and the kids and the photos, share with the other partner, even if you're not communicating. Let the other partner know when you take the kids, what you're doing with the kids. and with that, it will encourage more. And as time goes by, in regard to these kids, they even be, if they've been allowing you to have them twice in a month, they can even extend that to be thrice in a month. Do not make it look like the time you have kids on your own, you want to make them see you are the right parent than the other one. You want to do the things that this other one is not doing for them. You do not buy your kids with money. You only buy them with love and attending to their emotional needs. And how to do it is to balance between both of them. So also when you're co-parenting, let them see it's a compliment that I stay with my daddy, but I get to see mommy once in a while. So now, Sheila, we talked about step parenting, parenting, and now co-parenting. In all this setup, we have both parents, whether living together or not. Now we have another setup of parenting where it's just one parent. You are there, maybe it's as a result of death or separation, or you were never married, or maybe you're in a relationship, the girl got pregnant, she brought the kid to you, or whichever case it is, but you two, you're not co-parenting, you're not staying together, you're not married to another person, you're just there bringing up these kids solely. So maybe you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, thanks, Teresa, about single parenting. It's interesting. Naomi just talked about co-parenting and the way co-parenting sometimes can go rogue or go wrong. So when co-parenting goes wrong, I'll start with that one. You'll have this parent as a single parent now because the other party has refused to take responsibility. And we have those kind of relationships now where now the lady or the man just decides my partner doesn't want anything to do with the child, so this person now decides to raise up the child by themselves. So we have such issues, and sometimes, of course, these kind of issues bring a lot of issues with the children because this child, it's not because of the situation between the two parents, like Teresa has said. It's always about, the parents are always about themselves. They forget that this child, you are the mother, you are the father. It's not about the issues between the two of you. The child needs both of you. But in some of these circumstances, the child ends up with one single parent. And if it's in that case, then the child needs to have an understanding of what has actually happened, because to prevent traumas in future, the child needs to know basically we have what has happened and how you're going to go on at this point. It's not that they cannot see their parent, you're forbidding them from seeing their parents. It's just that things have happened and the parents cannot, your partner cannot see them. So the child needs to understand to some level. The court system does it better. They would make the child understand that this one doesn't want to have any part in you. So it breaks the whole bond, and now you can be able, as a single mother, to raise this child. But that does not mean when you're raising a child like that, they will forfeit the role of a father. I would always advise, if parents are in such a role, when you are in such a role, get other male people around you, like your brother, like your father or your grandfather, to play that role of a father in case that is a single mother. And in case of a single father, because right now we are even having fathers raising their own children alone. So in case of their fathers, and you are even raising girls, get your sisters, get your mothers to play the role of a mother, because it can be a bit tricky when you're having such relationships. And if you can't manage to do that, come for therapy. We are here at All Smiles to even help you sort out those issues, and even sort yourself up so that you can be able to raise these children properly. Because what happens, you come with hurt from the other relationship, from the co-parenting relationship. So you come with hurt because this partner has refused to play ball. So now you're even hurting. Sometimes you can project that hurt on your children and cause a lot of trauma. So when you know that, and if you can't do it with yourself, come for therapy so that at least we help you be self-aware and be able to manage yourself to be able to carry on the parenting properly at that stage. Then we have these parents who are, maybe you are a young child, you're a young girl, maybe at 21 you got a baby, and now you're stuck with this baby, you're stuck with raising this baby alone. Let your child know the circumstances. It's good for them to have an idea that I'm raising you as a parent and it is okay, you're well. Because children ask, when they reach the age of 13 or somewhere there, or 13 to 15, they start asking questions because of identity. They want to know, what is my identity? Why is it that I don't have a father? Why is it that I don't have a mother? So those are some of the questions you will need to answer at that point. And if you haven't dealt with it yourself, it might be a bit tricky to deal with it. You might need a little enhancement, which is therapy, to help you through that process. And we have those who get single because of death. When that happens, of course, on the part of the partner who is left, maybe the husband or the wife, it becomes very, very trying because this partner, they were together, raising these children together. All of a sudden, they are now alone. They have not prepared for that. So there is the grieving process which this parent needs to go through, even the children need to go through. We also advocate at such moments, come for therapy so that you can make your journey a bit easy and a bit simpler, because the grief process can take long, can take a short time, depending on how you're managed. So I would just tell such parents to come for therapy so that we can manage your grief process and so that you can be a proper parent from there. And I think that's a bit.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Sheila. What Sheila is saying and what we've all contributed here is you can be enough even as a single parent, while co-parenting, step parenting, or even the parent, mother, father, you're out there. There is no way anyone can feel like I'm lesser a parent because I'm all alone, bringing up these kids. And anytime you feel so, anytime you feel like you're projecting or putting the blame to the other person, or worried not of the fact that I got you when I was so young, could have gotten married to someone else or something, just get to know you have some mental unresolved issues. Come for therapy. Anytime you're out there as a parent, you do not feel enough for your kids. It can be enough in whichever way. Please get to know that's a red flag and a sign that you require to seek therapy. And also on the same, we have some people who kids we leave behind with our parents for one reason or the other. Always make it your effort. Explain to them. You see, I'm going to work far, or where I'm going to work, maybe it's even a nanny, where I'll be working. I'll be working in someone's house, hence I can go with you, and I need to go and work so that you pay school fees and you get good, feeding and everything. For that reason, please sit down, explain to them. When they grow up, they won't turn against you saying that you abandoned them. Instead, they will grow to appreciate you and say, Mommy had to leave us behind to go and work to ensure that we have the best. We've gone to school, we are well educated, and we are eating. So the same, when you talk about parenting in this, sit down now with the caregiver of your kids. Let them get to know your ideal parenting style. Because parents, they're very different. Explain to them how you'd want your kids, treated, to ensure, again, you're not leaving them behind. And maybe the way they are brought up is very different from how you want it to be. Also, have effective communication with their kids. Get to know when they're being mistreated, when they're being abused, because in most cases, the kids that we see are from either sexual assault, a lot of things, a lot of mistreatment. And this also, goes up to grown-ups who will come for therapy. and disclose to you about their childhood traumas, how they were left under the care of maybe the grandparents, the people we love and the people who are so close to us, and how they were mistreated. But now you get to hear, but I couldn't tell mommy because mommy or daddy trusted them so much more than me. Have us sitting with their kids. Let them know you trust them first. Open. And how to let them know that you trust them first is to open that conversation. You know what, my daughter, you're my daughter, you're my son. You can always have a conversation with me. I will trust you. I will buy your word. I will believe you. Whatever you tell me, I'm going to believe you. Please do not take that from me by lying to me. So tell me in case you're going through things. Because at times we feel we do not want to ask because the person who left our kids, to take care of our kids, they might feel like, we are also inquiring so much. Please get to know you can never be reflected. You are the only parent who can take care of this kid. And because you are there, you not die, that's why you are there. And even for scenarios where we have orphans and we have some people who come in as guardians, get to know you step in as parents, not as parents who are less. You step in as parents and treat them still as parents. So that's it. We've talked more about therapy. And our cost goes from when you want to come in as a couple is 3,000 shillings. When we want to come in for an individual session is 2,000 shillings per session. We make it more affordable to ensure that we accommodate all. And also the good news is, as orphans, we identify that there is a big gap when it comes to parenting. And for that, we've come up with parenting classes. These are classes done only for 6 weeks. That is a class per week. And it's done, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. to ensure that even if you're working, it won't interrupt with your work. And it's up to you to choose the day that you want. Is it on a Monday, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday? We've also done it like this to ensure we accommodate all people watching us and people who are out there, because we see clients all over the world. I mean, if you're somewhere where your clock system is very different with ours, we've decided to put it in such a way that we'll have some people coming in our East African time 6 to 9, others it's their morning hours before they go to work, to ensure that we are accommodating to all. Their online classes again means if you're coming from work, you can, as you're driving home, you just put on your earphones and your video and all that. Just get to interact. Of course, people won't switch on their videos, their cameras, but your audio will be on. Hence, you can interact freely. Come join us, join other parents. And you know what? While there also, because we are giving, it's a platform where we are educating you more. Trust me, what we've shared here within an hour, it's something very small on parenting. We have an entire course on parenting. Come get to learn, get also to engage with other parents, get to hear what they're going through, and with this, it will help you then navigate as your kid grows to the next stage. And our course is again very much affordable because it's only 6,000 shillings per entire course. That one means it's like 1,000 shillings per week. So 1,000 shillings per week, it's a course for 6 weeks. And even after that, we ensure that maybe you can have like a WhatsApp group to have this particular class also as a support, a psychosocial support system for each other. Hence, they can keep on sharing more. It's only that this will be a psycho-education, us educating you, and it's not therapy. However, as you continue consuming this knowledge, you'll be able to identify areas that now you need therapy. And should you require therapy and you are part of that class, you are most welcome. And we're also working on ensuring, we also give you a discount on the 2,000 because you're already part of the parenting class. You can come and pay 1,800. Now, again, we take you through now personalized therapy, but it's something that you're going to learn much more. So we encourage all of you to apply, because if you're not a parent today, you're going to be a parent tomorrow. And parenting, not necessarily the kids that besides all the kids that are within us. So enroll and get to learn more with All Smiles Therapy Center. So now your closing words, Naomi.
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa. I really enjoyed myself. And even as we take time to just set aside parenting as a topic, one thing that I would like to add is, as the family receives therapy and as the family comes together to function more in positive relationship, there's a special group of people that we might sometimes, and maybe in the past we have deliberately or unconsciously omitted, is our house managers, our house helps, and anybody that we are leaving our children with as custodians. So a lot of the time you find that a parent both parents are working, maybe one is even traveling outside of the country, and you end up leaving your child with a caregiver for long periods of time or even for short periods of time. You need to pay attention to the background of your house help, because if your caregiver, the one that you're leaving your child with, is from a broken home, then they will have to process issues of identity. They will have to process issues of rejection, and even to just find out from your house help, where did they reach in their education? Because here you are, your house help is preparing your children to go maybe to an expensive school, and maybe your house help, the last time she was in school was in class 4. So to bring these house managers and anybody who you're leaving your children with into therapy is something that we recommend. And as Teresa has said, the rates are affordable. And in your case, if you want something customized for a member of staff that you're leaving to look after your children, this is a co-parent. And it is important that they are on the same page with their own emotional wellness, self-awareness, and identity issues, as much as it is important for everybody else. So with that, that's my parting shot. And yes, I look forward to seeing you in our therapy training sessions.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you. It's good you've said that, Naomi. It's such a beautiful parting shot. Yes, house managers are usually not taken care of, especially me as a clinical psychologist. I go for mental illness. Most of the time we take people through mental awareness and mental issues. So yes, you could have a house help who has a mental issue and you have no idea. So if you brought them here, actually, it would save the family, the entire family. Some have done funny things. They've even murdered children, put them inside fridges and all that. You've had cycles. So before you just get that girl, it would be nice to bring them for therapy to avert such bad issues that we have had in our headlines. And yes, we are here ready to help you. If you're a single parent, I say you're, like Teresa said, you're more than enough, and we can guide you and help you how to stand and stand tall, even in such a situation.
Wow. What my colleagues are saying is, even our house managers, they also play a role in co-parenting. So let's ensure we are all driven and we are of the same objective. If not so, we are here for you. So yes, thank you so much for watching this. Please like if you like what you shared, like our video, share with as many people as possible. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. And yeah, we like it because this family is growing day by day. So we look forward to seeing you in our parenting classes or when you come for therapy. And trust you, me, as Osmar's Therapy Center, we are here to walk the mental health journey with you. And thank you so much. And we wish you all well in your parenting journey. Bye-bye.
Bye.